long ago, I attended that meeting, and the idea is to start global process for national standards. So ladies and gentlemen, what is keeping us back? We are now in the fourth industrial revolution. The threshold of the fifth industrial revolution is on us. The teaching profession has successfully passed unchanged through three revolutions, three industrial revolutions, but it cannot survive unchanged in the fourth and fifth industrial revolution. The fifth industrial revolution promises that there has to be collaboration between man and machine. I don't know if you know about Sophia, which is my favorite AI. She's now being mass-produced. In fact, some countries have already ordered thousands of Sophia. She can teach in any transactional classroom. So a teaching council there consolidates the profession, gives it direction, raises the social currency, and assures efficiency and effectiveness. The teaching councils are even more crucial now as we advance into the industrial revolutions, and the profession must remain agile in order to survive. Let us not pretend, educators, we cannot compete with the AIs. They cannot replace us, but they can assist us. So collaboration is the key. It is critical for councils to be legislative, to be empowered, to be effective. And as you have heard from Kenya and Ghana, the councils regulate the profession. They provide adequate and targeted professional development. They provide informed advice and policy. They ensure professional conduct and fairness. So in Jamaica, the genesis of our council was in the education system transformation set up in the year 2000. In fact, the research was done and the report came out in 2004. The council was set up in 2008. The Jamaican Council is mandated to regulate the profession, provide ongoing professional development, advocate for the profession, and reward excellence, establish a cutting-edge teacher management information system. And we are really focused on that because the TMIS must be robust. Inform policy to advance the teaching profession. What have been our achievements to date? Teacher register has been established and is being updated. Professional development reaches all teachers annually, and Mrs. Solomon will tell you much more about professional development. Professional standards and appraisal of practice have been established. A system of awards are in place for our excellent teachers. Annually, we have awards function just like the private sector. We laud our excellent teachers. There's active use of the digital space, so the social media, webinars. We have our own YouTube channel. We are very much in touch with the system through social media. Teacher management information system is not as robust as we'd like it to be, but we're getting there. Partnerships have been established at national level. The private sector works with us. At the regional level, we are in touch with CARICOM. We collaborate with CARICOM, and now CARICOM is setting regional standards. And at the international levels, we collaborate. We are members of the International Task Force on Education. We in Jamaica recognized as senior teachers and to be rewarded accordingly. Same thing for lead teachers. And Mr. Solomon will speak more about that. The vice principal and the master teacher designation. A subject teacher who is outstanding and can provide support to other teachers is designated a master teacher. Now that master teacher in his or her subject is remunerated like a vice principal. So because you are an excellent teacher, you do not have to join the administration to get the salaries and allowances of administration. And this is how we have tried to keep our best teachers, excellent subject teachers in the profession. At the level of the principal, the posts are advertised. They're not, principal's positions are not promotional within schools. It's a national selection. Now, outside of school, teachers can opt to be outside of the school year. They can choose to be college lecturers through their training, of course, and advanced degrees and so on. So from the lecturer to the senior lecturer to the principal of a training institution. They can choose to go to the teaching council, the Jamaica Teaching Council, and the head of the council is the chief executive officer. And that's the regulatory part of the profession. So they can choose to go to pre-service training. They can choose to go to the regulatory part of the profession. They can choose the national inspectorate to become inspectors and to be trained as inspectorates. They can become education officers who are support. They're like curriculum support, administrative support. They support the school system. And they are part of governance and management of the education sector. So the education officer, the senior education officer, to a regional director, to the chief education officer. They can choose now the emerging trades in the teaching profession, distance education, private distance education, public distance education. They can now use the digital space to create programs that they transmit. And teachers, educators, remember, if we have one excellent physics teacher, that excellent physics teacher can serve the system, which is what the industrial age is doing for the teaching profession. And so now, let us go to Mrs. Solomon, and she will tell us more of professional empowerment and development. Mrs. Solomon, are you on?
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Gordon. A pleasant good morning from Kingston, Jamaica to you all. It is my pleasure to be here. Where do we start? At the Teaching Council in the Teacher Development Unit when we sit and make decisions about teacher development. Data is very important to the Teaching Council. And there are four main areas to which we get data from. First, our Ministry of Education, Youth and Information priorities. So we get the directives from our parent ministry. We look at our Vision 2030 and our global goals, our SDGs, and the strategic planning data coming from the Ministry of Education. Then we get other data from other agencies within the ministry. Our National Education Inspectorate that delivers reports on what's happening in our schools, we look at that data. School assessment, very important to the Jamaica Teaching Council, is student outcomes. So the student performance data is analyzed by us here at the council to look to see what strategies can improve student learning. Education officer reports. These are education officers on the ground in supervisory functions in our schools, so we get data from their reports. The school's curriculum from the core curriculum unit and the core curriculum unit officers give us data. And we have our own monitoring and evaluation activities at the council. So we get data from our teachers via surveys, questionnaires, and focus groups. Then we have the appraisal process, and Dr. Gordon would have spoken to our standards of practice, our teaching standards and our regional standards. And so we look at the data coming from that and how our the OAS, UNESCO, and of course Educator, and a lot of global happenings, much like this one I have learned today. All right, so we have professional development priorities. We do have a certification framework at the council, and our professional development opportunities are targeted for 4 areas: content and pedagogy, student outcomes, leadership and management, and professional conduct. So just a summary of 2021 opportunities that were offered, or we continue to offer. 32 professional development opportunities are currently in place to support teachers' needs. And what is important for us is diversifying the way we deliver professional development. So there could be courses. This year we had 16 courses. We have 16 courses planned. We have already covered more than half of that. Or we have webinars, we have panel discussions, and some other activities. As I go on, you will hear. 270 hours are available for teachers to participate in. And you will see that we have our priorities. Heavy for this year was psychosocial support for our teachers. And I have more to say on that as we go on. All right, so locally, I'm going to start locally. We have quality education circles. We have 63 quality education circles in Jamaica. It's a geographical location in which everybody in a circle collaborates and integrates for the benefit of education. Issues of education are discussed vertically, addressing the gaps at all levels. What is important is that we have stakeholders in education. So education is not just for teachers and parents and students, but there's business persons in districts. From the farmer to the banker, how are you supporting education? Also, how are the teachers in that local environment supporting each other? We look at student performance data to guide our strategies. Dr. G? All right. Within quality education circles, we train lead teachers in the QECs to form and sustain professional inner circles. These inner circles are targeted subject areas, so teachers engage, again, not only themselves, but if it's in mathematics or accounts, what about the bankers? How can they support education? And they come up with strategies for that particular location. We have currently trained 250 lead teachers, and they are in the system. We have approximately 93 professional learning communities or inner circles already formed, and we continue to form as we continue to train. There are opportunities for awards. So we have a criteria to award our QECs as they work in 5 areas. We look for how they use research and innovation, how they achieve equity and access, how they collaborate with each other. What do they do to create professional development opportunities within their inner circles? And how do they manage data and use data? Mentorship is another arm of the teacher development unit at the Jamaica Teaching Council. Teacher mentors are very important to guide and coach our pre-service and our beginning teachers just entering the system. All teachers in Jamaica are required to participate in pre-professional activities. Our council is engaged with our 13 teacher training institutions in Jamaica, and our inductees go through, I believe, 2-month course and come out with an induction certificate at the end. For this year, we were pleased to launch an online recruitment database. All our inductees created web pages, and we collected the links and gave the links to our principals. So principals were able to go and then the teachers would contact these beginning teachers for employment opportunities. We at the council are very concerned with advancing our boys' education. Coming out of data, research data conducted, there is need to look at the education of boys. So we have embarked on a mentorship for boys in education, and our boys are currently involved in entrepreneurship training, and we are looking at our males in education, and our mentors are involved in action research. Master teachers provide training, and Dr. Gordon would have already mentioned our master teachers, who are our top-tier teachers in the system. They provide training and upskilling of other teachers in the school system. Our master teachers lead innovations and current best practices in teaching and learning in Jamaica. They participate in regional, local, regional, and international presentations overseas. Currently, they are working to promote STEM or STEAM activities in Jamaica. Here are some considerations in developing our matrix for this year. Partnerships. We anticipate significant partnership, and we get endorsement requests. So we have training partners, and not only training partners that deliver on teacher training, but also we partner with to teach environmental science, or NEPA, or National Environmental Protection Agency. So we engage ODPEM for disaster risk reduction in schools. So we engage our partners to create training opportunities for teachers. Certainly, our certification framework is aligned to ensure integrity and accountability. COVID-19 has largely shaped some of how we offer courses, and a lot of our, if not all of our courses were offered online, which created even greater access, even though there are still issues with Wi-Fi and internet connectivity, but we did see a huge increase in participation for professional development. Right. With that, we created psychosocial support opportunities. We have created broad events such as webinars on psychosocial development, but we also started support group for teachers. We partnered with our University of the West Indies and their master's degree in social work students, and created 6-week support group sessions for our teachers, which our evaluation proved 98% of the teachers involved said they learned coping skills and resilience skills for COVID-19. This was very important at the council. As you know, teachers faced COVID stress, Zoom fatigue, training fatigue, and a myriad of other fatigues related to COVID-19. Right? So our certification framework has different levels of rigor, from certificates to attendance and participation to certifying competence in our courses. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've forgotten to mention to you that we work very closely with Jamaica Teachers Union. They're so much a part of us that when we talk about partnerships, we hardly mention them. But let me say, from day one, they have been an integral part of this process. Now, I come to the question that no one has yet asked, or maybe I did not hear. How much does it cost? And who pays? No, how much does it cost not to have high quality teaching profession? That is the cost we are to look at. It does cost us to have our boys and girls, so much girls, but boys in prison. That's wasted human resources. So how much does it cost? One has to pay, regardless of how mean one is with the prisoners. The government has to pay the cost. Suppose we could translate and transform that cost into productive work. The net profit would be great. necessary. We don't need so many doctors. But young people going through the education system will become the best of who they can be. So, how much does it cost? The first thing is that we reassemble all the resources in a ministry addressing teacher issues. And we do have these little units and little bit of management here and little bit of governance here. So we put them all together. So to start, the initial movement of bodies into something, an institution called a council. So we put them together now, one stop for teacher. Not teacher going to one desk and then the other. There's one stop for teacher for the regulation, the professional development, excellence, awards, and all of that. So we have a one stop. We just put it together. All the resources we know, invest in teachers. Then, once we put those resources together, we refocus and give the resources direction towards the advancement of the profession in terms of numbers and quality. For licensing of the teachers, a small fee is charged. And you know, I like to talk about a small fee because a young teacher said to me when I spoke to the group about a small fee, he said, "Miss, everything in teachers, for teachers small." He didn't want the teaching profession to have a smaller fee than the other professions. But that a small fee helps to provide for professional development, to pay for the licensing processes, and if there's a disciplinary problem, to carry out the investigations of the disciplinary problems. The public budget, there's still a public budget for the profession, and we would like to see that public budget increase and improve. You know, I did some mathematics not so long ago, and I found out that there are times when government actually spends $1,000, less than 1,000, oh, what I'm talking about? Talking about Jamaican dollars. $10 per year on in-service professional development. Now, ladies and gentlemen, educators, one has to look at a unit cost when we talk about supporting professional development of teachers. Regardless of how great your country, you think your country can be, it cannot be any better than its teachers. That has been said over generations, decades, hundreds of years, because your teachers create your wealth. So if the teachers are not creating wealth, your country cannot be any better than the teachers. And therefore, investment in teachers bring you net returns. So we can start small, carving out the council out of the ministry and setting it up, and then step by step, year by year, allow the council to grow. We do have challenges because there's always the naysayer. There are always those who don't want to change. There are always those who do not want to cross the hurdles. But we have to change, or else we won't exist. The robots, the AIs will take us over. You just go and look on Sophie on the internet, and you see who she is. The teaching profession has to be transformational. It can no longer be transactional. And so the council has to steer the teaching profession in that direction, because the robots can replace all transactional teachers. But the robots cannot replace transformational teachers. And I don't know how they'll ever get there. Now, some of the challenges we may have is those countries that have services commission. If the services commission is responsible for the hiring of teachers, that is not a challenge, because the council does not take on hiring of teachers. There are other areas, as in the case of Jamaica, we have taken from our services commission all matters concerning the professional development of teachers, the assessment of their certificates, and the disciplinary processes, and the register. So all of those are now in the council. The Teacher Services Commission does not hire. Our boards hire professionals. And so the of principals and vice principals in our schools. The underperforming teachers are threatened because now the council tracks the performance of teachers. So there are some teachers that have been able to hide behind their excellent colleagues. No longer. The council is going to find them. And if the teacher is not able to teach and is not able to function in the profession, Mrs. Solomon spoke of return to happiness. Yes, a guidance and counseling will be given to that teacher to guide the teacher out of the profession so that the teacher can find his or her calling. Where governments do not wish to spend the additional resources on teacher development, there is a problem. And so we have to continue to negotiate with the Ministry of Finance and for them to see the economic value of investment in teachers. Inadequate government-based digital facilities, if you don't have the quality digital
Somebody say something? Moderator?
basic bad-mindedness and jealousies in and out of our profession, and we cannot deny that. We just have to negotiate and get people to understand that you're talking about benefits and not liabilities. So, opportunities for the teaching profession are immense in the digital space. Online services are leading to entrepreneurship in education. For the first time, a teacher can truly hang up his her shingle like a doctor. These are the courses I offer. And when the client goes, the teacher will discuss fees and how we manage. And that teacher will also be a licensed teacher governed by the council. Then the improved national, regional, and global networking. Look at us today. How many of us from different countries are here? I'd have had to travel 2 days to Namibia. No, we can talk to each other. And this is what the digital space is offering us. Active marketing. Now we can market our teaching profession. We can go to high schools. We can get the highest performers to come into the profession because we need the best to teach the rest. You don't want low-performing persons to teach your population. You're looking for high-performing persons, and therefore marketing is absolutely necessary. There's a distinct career path which we can continue to improve. Sometimes we can give special offer to highest performers and they stay in the profession for 10 years. That's very good. If I get 10 years of service from the highest performing students, I'm happy. So I can, rather than having somebody in the profession for 1 to the 35th hours, that doesn't work. So let us market to get the highest performers in our teaching profession. We have the master teachers, and the master teachers are really great. When we closed schools suddenly in 2020 March, the master teachers and the lead teachers came out as volunteers to train nearly 30,000 teachers. Over 20,000 teachers were trained within 4 weeks. And not only that, we were so ladies and gentlemen, I encourage governance of the teaching profession, because in this new dispensation, if we don't govern the teaching profession, we are going to be in a great deal of trouble.
We're not hearing the music, Dr. G. So sorry.
Well, sorry. Not get this sounding. So, thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor and the colleagues, for the presentation. You can still stay there for a few minutes for questions and clarification. Can we give them a big
This presentation spoke to the boys who we are trying to engage in the system to ensure that our boys perform better than they are doing. Right now, the performance is way below what they are capable of. So this is why we are focusing on the boys. Now the males we are talking about, we are referring to our teachers. The male teachers in the profession and other outstanding male members of the society who are willing to become mentors of our boys. So that is the separation. The males we are talking about male mentors for the boys. And of course the boys are the school boys. And I'm going to ask Mrs. Sullivan to speak to the Master Teacher Program.
Thank you, Dr. Gordon, and thank you for your questions also. Our excellent teachers are teachers that are awarded every year. This is a large group. We asked for, remember the QECs, the Quality Education Circles. Within those circles, teachers are identified by education officers and principals to be nominated to get an award for excellent teacher. And every year in October, we make those awards, right? So we also have a partnership with a business agent in Jamaica, Lasco, which we have criteria for awards, much in the same way, but this is dealt with a lot of rigor. So there's a teacher of the year and a principal of the year, and these are awards based on work done within their spaces. Now, a master teacher is a more rigorous selection process. This master teacher has to apply within certain guidelines. They would have had to consistently score highly on their professional appraisal. They would have proven themselves in conducting workshops, presentations, made publications. There's a heavy criteria because these master teachers, as Dr. Gordon had shown in the diagram, these master teachers are considered at the vice principal level without administrative responsibilities. And so they apply, they go through a rigorous application process. An interview, they have to present an e-portfolio, and they are assessed during an observation by a team of panelists that look at their application. That's a more rigorous process, and our master teachers lead our innovations. They present at international conferences. When we look towards global development, they lead on the training. Dr. Gordon did say also that when COVID-19 closed schools in March 2020 in Jamaica, they're the first ones to be on the virtual space offering our training. And those videos created are still on our YouTube channel. I invite everyone to visit our Jamaica Teaching Council YouTube channel. Thank you.
I saw a hand there. Ms. Ashia.
I don't see much. Let me come to you.
Thank you very much. It was really an excellent presentation. It was really enjoyed by us all. I just wanted to understand, you mentioned that you systematically moved the council from the ministry, and I just want to understand who does the council report to, under which ministry does it fall, or is it an independent body? Thank you.
At the moment, the council is going through its process for its legislation to become a statutory body. But it still reports to the minister, and it will always report to the Minister of Education. And of course, the permanent secretary is the head of the administration. So the council has that reporting structure. Thank you.
Do we still any question on the chat? In the absence of any other question, thank you very much, Doctor and the colleague, for the presentation.
So so that they lead to the expansion and improvement of the teaching profession. There's no other way right now than to go forward. The digital age is bringing changes to the profession. So it's not whether or not we want to change. It is a matter that we just have to change to survive. It is actually a survival strategy. And so the councils, when the council assembles the resources and challenge the resources towards those towards the opportunities of those changes, then you can assure yourself that the product of your education system will be meaningful and it will show the evidence in your economy. So I'm encouraging every country to set up your governance body for your teaching profession. It pays off. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, just an urgent request. Some of us who are in here who did not sign the attendance register, let me do so as we are getting out of the hall. Secondly, lunch is available downstairs there. Lunch, yes. Lastly, as we are going back to our respective destinations, please let me try to market the concept. We don't want to see a situation where the student comes to move around consult, get a lot of resistance. Let me speak about it. That's very much important. Thank you very much.